Hi. Apologies for the lack of my usual intro. I've tried to record this a lot of times now without crying. I'm just going to jump right in and say that this video will be discussing topics such as abuse, misogyny, SA, CSA, but more specifically violence against women. If you feel like you might be affected by any of the topics mentioned, please don't watch this video. I will leave some resources in the description if you have been affected by any of these topics. I'm just going to say I don't think this video will be monetized. In the hopes that it is, I will be donating all of the ad revenue made to Women's Aid. I'll also leave a little link if you want to give a donation yourself. On the 16th of November last year, one of my childhood best friends, Phoenix Spencer Horn, was murdered by her partner. Phoenix worked as a barista, and her mum would make the comment, "Over the last 9 weeks, we have had to come to terms that we will never cuddle, kiss, laugh with her again, and never get served one of her brilliant barista coffees with the perfect latte art which always made you feel special of how much love and precision she put into making them. We now only have the photos and videos to be blessed with her stunning smile that people who were lucky enough to have met Fee were left with after encouraging her amazing energy and radiance." Me and Phoenix went to primary school together when she moved into the class in primary 2 after moving up from England, and it was only a couple of months later that I invited her to my 6th birthday party. We had a thing in our friend group where we would rotate what room we were in for laser tag for our birthdays. I remember there was a Spider-Man one, a Doctor Who one, and we would always try and claim bids on the room that we wanted most. We would share cinema trips together, we would tag each other in photos on Instagram when we were on holiday just to be like, hey, I'm on holiday and you're not, what are you doing? It was on the 18th of November when I was leaving a concert in town and I got a phone call from my aunt asking if I knew who this girl was, and I said, yeah, we went to school together, we were friends, what's going on? And she told me that she thought something really bad had happened to her. And I remember the absolute dread I felt on the tube ride back home, and the next couple of days I was frantically refreshing news articles, refreshing Facebook just to see if anything might have came up, and something did. Her life was ripped away from her by an entitled man who felt entitled to take her life. Phoenix is not the only nor the first woman to be murdered by her partner. From the femicide census, we found that one woman has been killed every 3 days in the UK since 2009, with 90% of the killers being family, partners, or known to the victim, and 61% of women were killed by a current or former partner. In 2016, we saw a rise of sort of like incel adjacent culture seeping in through the likes of Reddit forums and 4chan. And in regards to gender politics, we were hearing things such as rape culture, male privilege, and almost like an antagonising force pressing against the Me Too movement was the red pill community. I'm guessing most of you know where that comes from, but the film The Matrix, with the line saying, you take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And the rabbit hole in this case is the belief that women run the world without taking any responsibility, and the male victims are not permitted to complain. And this is the heart of the Manosphere, which is a network of websites preoccupied with both men's right movements and how to pick up women. The Manosphere's most hatred opinions tend to get the most attention, such as Rishvi's notion that it should be legal to assault women on private property, which he later claimed to be a joke, but he would then attempt to organise a meetup of like-minded men, but she had to cancel when a local band of female boxers threatened to disrupt the event. And in an article written by Stephen Marche from 2016, he wrote, "Judging the red pill by the most extreme statements of its members is, if not fair, then at least inaccurate. There's plenty of vileness, to be sure, elaborate conspiracy theories formed out of pure misogyny and outright hatred of female independence, but the bulk of the comments are much more muted and frankly pathetic. In the hours upon hours I spent wandering this online neighbourhood, I saw mostly feral boys wandering the digital ruins of exploded masculinity, howling their misery, concocting vast nonsense about women and craving the tiniest crumb of self-confidence and fellow feeling. The discussion threads are a mixed bag of rage and curiosity, screeds against feminists, advice on how to masturbate less, theories on why women fantasize about rape, descriptions of arguments with girlfriends, guides to going up to strangers on the street, and most of all, workout schedules and diet regimens." But Marcy's article gives a lot of questions as to whether who we are online reflects who we are in person. Examples of this include women being harassed on Twitter just for stating an opinion, and the likes of 4chan being a festering hole for revenge porn and doxing. Marcia was able to interview a moderator of the Red Pill community on Reddit, with the mod claiming that it was all just locker room talk and a way to vent to other men. But Marcia gives a good reason as to why that's not true at all, where he states, locker room talk goes like this. You say to your friend, my god, did you see the tip on that yoga instructor? And your friend says, it hurts you, doesn't it? And you say, it does. And he says, you know, I've sucked tits like that before. And you say, yeah, right. And he says, really? And you say, who? And he says, in Brazil. And you say, of course, it would be an unverifiable claim. And he shrugs and you laugh and he laughs. The quantity of locker room talk is inversely proportional to familiarity with women. So as you fall in love, maybe even get married, it no longer becomes feasible to talk with friends about women's bodies in such specific detail because, say, your friend works for your wife and you don't want him thinking about her cleavage when she's firing him. But very quickly, mid-30s, really a new locker room talk emerges. The new locker room talk goes like this. You ask your friend, what summer programming do you have your daughters in? And your friend says, I'm trying to find something with science in it. And you say, yeah, you gotta fight those cultural assumptions about girls in STEM. And he says, totally. And you say, I'm just trying to do little things like nature walks and trips to the science centre. And he says, we should go together sometime. And you say, totally. And then you're taking your daughters to the science centre and a gorgeous woman walks by and you look at your friend and your friend looks at you and you don't have a thing to say. That was from 2016. So where are we today? Have our online personas really seeped so far into who we are in person that they're sort of one and the same? And when we look at some of the loudest voices online like Andrew Tate, Donald Trump, it's sort of wrong to say that they cause no harm. And last week, former England football manager Gareth Southgate used the Dimbley lecture to lament the lack of male role models, while a group of MPs launched a new parliamentary group aimed at steering youngsters away from toxic influencers. And a report by the Higher Educational Policy Institute found boys' underachievement at schools led to them missing out on higher education. And in an article written by Rosa Prince, she states, the stats confirm there's a cause for concern. The rate of young men not in education, employment or training is rising 3 times as steeply as that for their female counterparts. And while the gender gap at exams taken at 16 has narrowed, boys are still 6% less likely to achieve a top grade. Male pupils are also twice as likely to be excluded or suspended. And these can all be viewed as negative life reinforcements for the young boys, but it's women who pay the price. Analysis of police reports by the Observer in November showed a 40% increase in rates in which both victim and perpetrators were under 18, with an alarming 81% increase in attacks on school property. And according to the NSPCC, 52% of offenders are juveniles, leading to the National Police Chiefs Council to call on social media firms to do more to stop teens accessing misogynistic content online. And so warped interpretations of what's appropriate in teenage years can lead to criminality. And I'm sure a lot of you probably saw the discussion recently with Adolescence, which rather than being a show based on one case, the creators took influence from many cases that they were seeing across the news. Stephen Graham, who's the co-creator, co-writer and star, told The Independent, I read an article about a young boy stabbing a young girl, and then maybe a couple of months later on the news there was another young boy stabbed a young girl, and if I'm really honest with you, they hurt my heart. So what is Adolescence? The show's creators wanted the viewers to relate to the character in the story in as intimately a way as possible, stating, we could have made a drama about gangs and knife crime or about a kid whose mother is an alcoholic or his father is a violent abuser, but instead we wanted you to look at this family and think, my god, this could be happening to us. But the show tells the fictional story of 13-year-old Jamie Miller, a boy who's accused of murdering a classmate Katie, and helps give us a greater insight into the online manosphere and red pill rhetoric we might not be so familiar with. In the second episode of Adolescence, detective investigator Luke Bascom discovers that accused murderer Jamie had been called an incel by his future victim Katie. Initially, he suggests Jamie was being bullied by Katie, but his colleague, Detective Sergeant Mr. Frank, attempts to put down any potential victim-blaming narrative, telling him, do you know what I don't like about all this? The perpetrator always gets the front line. A man raped a woman. We follow Jamie's brain around this entire case, right? Katie isn't important. Jamie is. Everyone will remember Jamie. No one will remember her. And this is a pretty common consensus in real life. How many serial killers can you name? And how many victims can you name? History always remembers the perpetrator. Very rarely the victim. It also alludes to how often women's voices are swept under the rug, and we don't really get to know anything about Katie, apart from her online activity very briefly in relation to Jamie and meeting one of her best friends. But apart from that, we don't know who Katie is. And in the show's third episode, we learn more about Jamie's motives for killing Kitty when his psychologist Bryony Arston meets with him to evaluate his mental state. Bryony asks Jamie about some of the comments Katie made on his Instagram account, and he reveals that Katie accused him of being in a truth group. He shares that incel stuff had been a popular topic at school, and he believes the 80 to 20 thing, which suggests that 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. Do with that what you will. Jamie then says he'd asked Katie on a date as she seemed weak. After new photos of her were shared around the school, and she turned him down and started calling him an incel online soon after. And while the impact of incel culture is only mentioned briefly in the show, the co-creator and writer Jack Thorne would mention, teenage boys are watching a lot more dangerous stuff than Andrew Tate. We are trying to present a portrait of complexity of this kid that had been made by all sorts of different influences, and the thing about incel culture is there's a logic to it. While developing the series, Thorne was directed to the Manosphere and incel culture by a colleague, and he quickly grasped the attraction to the community. I knew almost immediately that if I was an isolated kid, I would find answers as to why I felt a bit lost. One of the central ideas that 8% of women were attracted to 20% of men would have made adolescent me sit up and frankly nod. The path then becomes, what do you do to upset that equation? How do you manipulate and harm to reset a female-dominated world that works against you? And while Andrew Tate was only mentioned briefly, any reference to that far-right misogynistic commentator feels pretty persistent. With Graham noting in an interview, when I was a kid, when I was in my bedroom, my mum knew I was safe. But in today's day and age, these phones are very dangerous, and these so-called influencers, I think they're a huge responsibility there. Which leads us on to a good question. Are parents to blame? People are going to disagree with me on this one, I feel like, but let me ask you a question. When that child turns 18, leaves at home, are their actions still your responsibility? And I'm not going to disagree that some parents couldn't do more. I feel like you can always do more to prevent these sort of things happening, but you need to look at the world around you and really evaluate, is this solely the parents' fault? And I don't think so. There's always going to be an element of, yeah, parents can be more proactive, parents can always monitor more what you're doing online, they can always implement safety locks and things like that and look at your search history, but there is an element of trust that you have to build with your children. You have to be able to trust that they will be safe enough online. If you implement the building blocks to give them that structure, you have to be able to put trust in them, not to infiltrate their privacy. Sometimes you just can't protect them. If there's other boys in school talking about the same rhetoric, the kid's going to hear it and they're going to question, oh, what is this? Let me look that up. You can't always protect your child from everything. The showrunners make a good point of everyone is responsible. It's not just the parents, it takes a community to raise a child. It's society, the parents, everyone around them, the institutions they're a part of, like school, everyone is responsible. That doesn't mean it's anyone's sole fault. I'm not saying that, but everyone is responsible to some regard. The show gives a good example of Jamie's sister, Lisa, who grew up under the exact same roof with the exact same parents, the exact same house rules, and she turned out to be a pretty well-rounded kid. They mentioned college in the show, and I think she's pretty artsy. So what's different? Because it doesn't seem to be the parenting. So was it online radicalization? And was Jamie an incel or not? And what are our perceived beliefs of what misogyny is? Social media is saturated with misogynistic content, meaning that Jamie would have probably saw it regardless, leading to a normalization of misogyny. But what we do know from Jamie's interview at the police station was that he was making sexually aggressive comments under models' Instagram posts. We also see a contradiction with Jamie, with a clash between his developing ideas of masculinity and his deep-rooted fragility. When we first meet him, he's a terrified kid and he wets himself in fear, but at the same time we see a pervasive need to be liked and accepted. And the switching between these two states is really evident in his interactions with the psychologist in episode 3. And it remains unclear whether or not Jamie did buy into the ideologies of people like Andrew Tate, but what we can be certain of is the horrible nature of these ideals seeping into his sense of self. And the danger isn't just in direct indoctrination, but in the slow feed of these harmful ideologies and messages that we see so persistent in social media. And it likely fueled Jamie's sense of entitlement, which morphed into a need for control and ultimately led to murder. And we see this in his reaction to Katie's rejection, which resulted in her being murdered, and we also see glimpses of it in his sessions with the psychologist, especially in moments where he feels the dynamic shifting out of his control. And another pretty persistent theme we see throughout the show is the idea of assigning value to people, which is a pretty heavy thing in the Manosphere that we see. And Jamie perceives Katie as a low-value object after her experiences in revenge porn. From his perspective, that devalued her as a person and made her more attainable to him, and yet she still rejected him. And I cannot emphasize enough how dehumanizing this belief system is. I don't think I've mentioned this here before. I don't know if I should mention this. I, like probably so many other people, have experienced being cheated on. Probably one of the hardest things that, well, from my perspective, was the words that were used to talk about me to other people. It was very incredibly dehumanizing to me to be solely attributed to something to fuck, to just being a fuck and nothing more, which is how a lot of guys view women. You know, it stems from hookup culture where women were no longer yearned after and pursued out of love, but just for a one night stand at a bar. And call me a purist, I don't care, even though I'm not, but I hate hookup culture. And I feel like a lot of these misogynistic tendencies that we're seeing online are stemming from hookup culture. A big thing in the Manosphere is how to pick up women, how to talk to strangers, how to get their phone number. And it is so dehumanizing to a point where it makes me physically depressed to be in this world right now. And I know we have it so much better than the women before us, and we have came so far in terms of our own rights as women, but it would be wrong for me to say that I'm not worried that we're going backward. And it's terrifying, you know, when you're experiencing it with someone that you love so much, and they're dehumanizing you to an extent that you don't really want to be alive anymore. It's a very bleak reality to live in. But moving on, it isn't solely just about these loud, overbearing voices that we are seeing online. It's not even about outwardly spewing hate. And if you've been on Twitter the last week, I'm sure you saw this guy. The woman's face is never shown. She is only shown to bow to him and serve him. But going back to adolescence, one of the topics that it brought up that I really resonated with is the conversation as to whether or not Katie is a perfect victim, with them sort of alluding to a question of to whether or not Katie was a bully, which in my opinion, I don't think she was bullying Jamie. I think it was just her reaction to him pursuing her, because we don't really know the full extent of that conversation that they had when he asked her out. We don't know how he responded to her saying no, apart from murdering her later on. Katie was just responding to his incel tendencies, and I don't think she was wrong for that. And I most definitely do not believe she deserved to be murdered for it, which so many people have been debating online, which is fucking insane to me. Even if she was bullying him, let's just say hypothetically, Katie was bullying Jamie. Does she deserve to die for that? No, she does not. And this idea of a perfect victim harms so many court cases, as there have been so many women questioned on, oh, well, you were wearing a thong, so you were clearly asking for it, or you were abusing them. Reactionary abuse exists. But the minute a woman starts talking back to a man, starts fighting back to a man who's abusing her, she's no longer a perfect victim. Say a woman cheats on a man and he murders her, she's not a perfect victim because she cheated on him, and clearly she deserved it. And if bullying was present between Kitty and Jamie, sure, it might have provoked him, but it didn't create violent tendencies, and it's not her fault. I experienced bullying. I've experienced rejection. I'm sure a vast, probably majority of people have experienced some sort of bullying at some point in their life, and yet how many of them go on to murder someone? And the reflex to find mitigation for the aggressor is not just disgusting, but it's terrifying. If this is a show clearly stating, here's what's going on, here's why this is wrong, and you're still questioning, yeah, but she bullied him, so. I could speak on so much more about this show, from the shared mother-daughter relationship of having to stay quiet and mediate when you have a angry man in your house, from the hints of racism that we see from Katie's best friend, who is outwardly angry that her best friend was murdered, and yet the police interactions between when they're interviewing Katie's friend, who is a black girl, and interviewing Jamie's friend, who is a white boy, are vastly different. But I think from the show perspective, I've said what I felt like I had to say, and I'd like to finish by stating off the names of 80 women who were killed in the UK last year at the hands of men. Karen Cummings died 14th of December, aged 40. Astra Sidapina died 10th of December, aged 62. Margaret Maud Hanson, who died on the 9th of December, aged 84. Christine Spareen died 26th of November, aged 37. Carol James, who died on the 15th of November, aged 21. Cheryl McKenna died on the 11th of December, aged 44. Sandy Butler, who died on the 29th of October, aged 40. Catherine Flynn, who died on the 24th of October, aged 69. Rhiannon Sky White died 23rd of October, aged 27. Luca Bennett Smith, who died on the 20th of October, aged 19. Michelle Elias died 9th of October, aged 24. Mary Ward, who was last seen alive on the 25th of September, aged 22. Rachel Simpson, whose body was discovered on the 13th of September, aged 43. Juliana Falcon, who died on the 13th of September, aged 48. Barbara Nomakose, who died on the 6th of September, aged 35. Davinia Graham, who died on the 31st of August, aged 67. Cher Maximin died 31st of August, aged 32. Zinio Sabanda died 27th of August, aged 28. Rhodey McGregor died 26th of August, aged 23. Montserrat Martorell died 24th of August, aged 64. Victoria Thomas died 20th of August, aged 45. Sophia Watson, who died on the 18th of August, aged 57. Stephanie Marie, who died on the 18th of August, aged 19. Nina Deno Silva, who died on the 17th of August, aged 39. Courtney Mitchell died 6th of August, aged 26. Olivia Wood, who died on the 30th of July, aged 29. Rebecca Simpkin, who died on the 29th of July, aged 31. Anita Rose, who died on the 28th of July, aged 57. Alana Odysseus, who died on the 22nd of July, aged 32. Laura Robson, who died on the 22nd of July, aged 37. Jenny Sharp, who died on the 19th of July, aged 80. Sophie Evans, who died on the 12th of July, aged 30. Carol Hunt died 9th of July, aged 61. And Hannah Hunt, who died on the 9th of July, aged 29. And Louise Hunt, who died on the 9th of July, aged 25. Joanne Samak, who died on the 1st of July, aged 49. Maxine Clark died 27th of June, aged 36. Lauren Evans, who died on the 25th of June, aged 22. Rita Fleming died 23rd of June, aged 70. Joanne Ward, who died 21st of June, aged 53. Delia Haxworth, who died on the 18th of June, aged 85. Chitsidsto Chinyanga, who died on the 9th of June, aged 42. Patsy Ost died 2nd of June, aged 81. Maria Nugara died 28th of May, aged 54. Amy Gray, who died 24th of May, aged 34. Margaret Parker died 21st of May, aged 78. Emma Finch died 17th of May, aged 96. Catherine Parton died 15th of May, aged 34. Bajin Kaur died 13th of May, aged 76. Anita Moke died 9th of May, aged 66. Karanjeet Riaz died 6th of May, aged 44. Lisa Wilford, who died on the 24th of April, aged 49. Rachel McDade, who died on the 19th of April, aged 53. Samantha Micklebur, who died 14th of April, aged 54. Kennedy Wesker Sabaroch, who died 6th of April, aged 25. Kusuma Akhter, who died on the 6th of April, aged 27. Frances Dwyer, who died on the 30th of March, aged 48. Ruth Baker, died 30th of March, aged 48. Gillian Hughes, died 29th of March, aged 57. Tiffany Render, died 22nd of March, aged 34. Carl Matthews, who died on the 22nd of March, aged 73. Ursula Ullman, died 20th of March, aged 80. Pauline Sweeney, died 20th of March, aged 50. Zi Wang, died 20th of March, aged 31. Sarah Matthew, died 8th of March, aged 38. Christine Bald, died 3rd of March, aged 55. Wendy Francis, who died on the 2nd of March, aged 61. Paramjeet Gossaljou, died 23rd of February, aged 40. Christine Everett Hickson, died 23rd of February, aged 21. Sam Varley, died 12th of February, aged 44. Claire Levick, died 11th February, aged 24. Michelle Romano, died 9th of February, aged 68. Claudia Cambanza, died on the 26th of January, aged 22. Tara Kershaw, died 20th of January, aged 33. Kanticha Sekpangano, died 19th of January, aged 36. Alison McLaughlin, died 5th of January, aged 53. Maya Bracken, died 4th of January, aged 56. Tia Simmons, died 3rd of January, aged 32. Kyochipil Nasu Isaacs, died on the 1st of January, aged 33. And Phoenix Spencer Horn, who was found dead on the 18th of November, aged 21. ONS found that in the cases where women are murdered, 95% of the time, the perpetrator was a male. Women are being abused and assaulted and murdered. And it isn't a race thing, it isn't some immigration issue. This is women's lives. And I do not give a single shit about the male loneliness epidemic when men are doing it to themselves. You not getting your dick wet is not more important than someone's life. And I always get comments of men being like, why do you think your voice is so important? Why do you think your opinions matter? And I am never gonna sit here and say that I don't think my voice isn't important. I don't think it's more important than anyone else's. I think everyone should have a voice. And these are topics that I have been personally affected by. I had a friend murdered at the hands of another man. When I was in high school, I was being stalked and harassed by an older male because I rejected him. And he was sending me pictures of my house, sending me revenge porn, almost as like a threat that he was going to leak it. And when I went to the police about this, I was told that maybe I had just been naive to message him and talk with him. Maybe I was naive and I was a child. I've been told by partners that I look like a hooker because I want to wear fishnets and bleach my hair blonde, or that I can't go to a concert with a male friend who was just a friend because they would accuse me of cheating. And I remember the day after that man sent a picture of my house. I was 15, I think, and I had to wake up and go to school that day because I couldn't tell anyone what was going on. And I remember having to walk under a tunnel in which previously a woman had been raped, and I was terrified that I was going to die. I woke up that morning fully believing that I wasn't going to make it to school and that something awful was going to happen to me, and I have never felt the level of fear that I did that day walking under that tunnel. You are not a victim of the patriarchy, you are a product of it. And I'm not going to give you empathy when we were never given any in the first place.